It's been a while, but let's go ahead and welcome back another house call from the doctor.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Chris Sabat, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hey, almost there. The weekend is right around the corner. We'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. What are we talking about today? Well, we're going to be welcoming back a familiar face, Dr. Ryan MCCorkle. He's going to join us for a little off-season talk ahead of the start of training camp and about Wemby being flexible. You remember Gumby Wemby? He's all bending every which way as if he's made of Gumby, stuff. We're going to be talking about that, why it benefits him in the NBA, how you can benefit from yoga as well. Also, a recent report had San Antonio being one of the heavier cities, or not the heaviest city in Texas. We're going to be talking about that, as well as some sneaker talk as always. But hey, can you feel it? This is it. The season's almost there. It's almost there. Your patience is about to pay off. Silver and Black will be back in action, and all eyes will be on Wemby. Yes, I know there's other players around him. Keldon, Devin, Trey, the list goes on and on, Jeremy. But it's all about Wemby. And that's what it's going to be like for pretty much most of the season. You're hearing reports of so many media descending upon San Antonio, making it their home base, at least for the NBA season, because it's going to be not just a San Antonio phenomenon, a United States phenomenon, an NBA phenomenon. It's going to be a global thing. So all eyes are going to be on San Antonio and Wemby. And should he live up to the hype? Well, then great, San Antonio. If he doesn't, well, don't lose patience yet. Things are not built overnight. Rome wasn't built overnight, as they say. It's going to take time. And there's a part of me that thinks that maybe Wemby may take time to get to that level that many think that he can attain. Hopefully it's sooner than later. But we got to keep in mind he's just 19 years old. His body's still not filled out yet. There's a lot more basketball learning for him to do. Oh, he's going to get plenty with Popovich at his side and the rest of the crew in San Antonio. So many other things are lining up for Wemby to become that. But if he does it in year one, well then, don't jump ship. Don't use the B word, bust. We're not even there yet. Even after his rookie season, we're not even close to being there yet. This is a teenager that's coming in to a man's league and is about to get a dose of what it really is to be playing against the best of the best. He was the best of the best, if not the best, in France and on his team, Mets 92, but now he's going to be playing against guys like Joker. He's going to be going against guys like Luka Doncic. He's going to be going guys that are going to be gunning for him. Even his fellow classmate out in Portland, he's going to be gunning for him. So, everybody's going to have a target on his back. So, look, if he doesn't make it there yet in year one, don't jump the gun. It's not over yet. But this show is just beginning. As mentioned, we're going to bring in Dr. Ryan MCCorkle. Let's going to welcome him back. So there he is. What's going on, Doctor?
Hey, thanks for having me back, Jeff. Good to see you.
Yeah. We gave you the off-season off, because there's nothing barring something major happening, but nothing did, thank goodness. But you are back. Dr. Ryan will be coming on regularly throughout the NBA season to at least once a week to give you updates on your Spurs, what how to handle or read certain injury reports and so much more. We learned a lot from him last season, and we're going to learn a lot from him this season. So make sure to follow him on Twitter at AustinER. He is with the St. David's Medical Group and part of the backstage concierge medicine practice. We'll talk about that later on in this show. But again, we missed you, Doctor, but we're glad you're back. The NBA season is right around the corner.
Glad to be back. It's good to be on with you. Good to have basketball.
By the way, I don't want to alarm you, but there's a dinosaur behind you, a red panda behind you. So you might want to be careful. You're in hostile territory.
That's right. One of our pediatric rooms here in the ER where we bring the kids in. So a little art on the walls to make them feel more comfortable.
It's making me feel comfortable, Doctor. It's
Good.
working. I feel it already. Look, I see a friendly tiger there, so smiling back at me. But let's go and dive into it. As you can tell, Doctor is at work right now, so we got to respect that and make sure he is back taking care of those kids and making sure everybody's healthy out in Austin, Texas. Doctor, there was a viral video of Wemby showing off his flexibility. It looked freaky. It looked like a contortionist from the old three-ring circus days. Obviously, that's going to benefit him, his longevity. But when you saw that video, and Spurs fans want to know, is that natural for a guy his frame to be that flexible?
I think he's been one of those people who have focused on flexibility and injury prevention since they were, just starting out when he was 12, 13, 14 and taking care of his body, the way LeBron has his whole career, because, that's going to be the money maker.
Yeah.
So I think the flexibility is something he's been working on for quite some time, as you can see from the video, because nobody gets to that level without working on it day after day after day. Medically, there is something called Marfan syndrome that, of course, kind of throws up all the flags where you have hyperextensible joints, and you're extremely tall. Then they end up having things like aortic dissections that are concerning. The lead singer of the Ramones had it. It's very rare, but we would have known about that by now. But of course, a lot of doctors, when they first saw it, that was their first thing is, oh, wow, the hyperextensibility, the really long hands, long frame is at Marfan's. But I think this is just him having worked on his flexibility since he was extremely young.
Yeah, he was doing splits. I mean, a 7'3" without shoes, pretty much putting his head between his legs. I mean, it looked like he was Gumby. He was the same kind of Gumby coming back. How do you think that flexibility will benefit him once the regular season, the NBA season starts for him?
Oh, man. Working on your flexibility is the best thing you can do for injury prevention. Just not having those strained hamstrings, strained calves, less problems with the low back, all the things that plague NBA players. When you really are committed to flexibility, even from what we saw there, I bet he does a whole lot of yoga, which is something we'll talk about later. But those things really contribute to, especially big men, having longer careers with less injuries, starting with Kareem, Robert Parrish, and hopefully now with Wemby as well.
Yeah, I believe Jabbar was one of the first, maybe not the first, but he really was a big proponent of yoga. He did it in his playing days. You got to wonder too, like how much that would have benefited bigger guys like a Shaq, maybe, those big beefy guys. Maybe to sort of Tim Duncan. Now post-retirement, Duncan is all about MMA fighting, and he looks really fit despite, hanging up the sneakers. But for Wemby, though, do you feel that the flexibility, help us understand that flexibility is not a sign of being physically weak, right? I'm assuming the core, he would have to be strong in that department to be able to make the moves to begin with. Because, you look at him and he looks rail thin still. I mean, he's added a little bit of size, you could see, since draft day. But a part of me worried about because he's so limber that he might get pushed around a lot.
Well, I mean, he's 19, so he's going to have the natural filling out, of any young man. So flexibility is definitely not a sign of weakness. That is a huge plus. And as he adds mass, being able to remain flexible is what's going to prevent injury. Because what happens is when you add that weight, add that mass, you tend to be more prone to having sprains, strains, those kind of things. So when you saw players like Shaq, even when he added a whole lot of weight there towards the middle to latter part of his career, he was much more prone to injury. Carrying all that extra weight, can be a problem. Kobe and LeBron went through phases where they bulked up and then found that they were more prone to injury, back pain, and then slimmed back down. I think you saw the same with Tim Duncan in the latter part of his career. He slimmed down, worked more on flexibility, and was much less injured and had a much longer, more productive career because of it.
He is Dr. Ryan MCCorkle. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at AustinERDoc. When we get back, we're going to continue talking about Wemby, you being flexible and yoga and how you can benefit as well, and follow Wemby, example there, bringing that element to your everyday life right here on Locked On Spurs with Dr. Ryan MCCorkle. Hey, but before we continue our chat with the doctor, I want to talk to you about DoorDash Grocery. Look, you got to sign up right now. If you're missing that syrup for the pancakes, you run out of your favorite coffee creamer. With DoorDash Grocery Delivery, you can get what you want, when you need it, to your door. If you love the convenience of getting what you want right to the door, exactly, you want to go to DoorDash Grocery Delivery. You can stock up for the week. Those last-minute cravings get taken care of pretty quick. I mean, they are fast. I've used it already. Let me tell you, I put in my order. Next thing I know, I hear a knock at the door or a text on my cell phone that, hey, your stuff's here. So you got to use it. I'm telling you, it works. So look, you've trusted DoorDash for a long time now to deliver your favorite restaurant meals. We get that now in the grocery delivery department. They take care of everything for you. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with DoorDash each and every single day. You'll get exactly what you ordered. They'll make it right. So sit back, relax, enjoy those quality groceries like you just picked them yourselves when you're at the grocery store. Look, get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to $20 value when you use code LOCKEDONNBA at checkout. It's a limited time offer. Terms apply. Look, you got to try it. I'm telling you, it works. That's 50% off up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code LOCKEDONNBA. Don't forget, that's code LOCKEDONNBA for 50% off your order with DoorDash. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Dr. Ryan MCCorkle. You see him right there on your screen. Follow him on Twitter at AustinERDoc. Don't be alarmed. Those animals are okay. They're not going to attack him. If you see a tiger behind him or a dinosaur, he's all good. He did not slip into Narnia, everybody. He's all right. He's just at work right now. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every day. You guys are the everydayers. We'll be talking more silver and black on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Spurs here. As you can tell, Doctor is at work, so we're going to try to keep it short and sweet with Doctor. He can get back to taking care of all his patients. So, Doctor, with Wemby, you made it very clear. It's a good thing that he's very flexible. It's a good thing that he's incorporating yoga into his preparations for the upcoming NBA season, or pretty much throughout his entire basketball career at this point. Do you think as he naturally gets bigger, the flexibility will go away? Does that go hand in hand?
It's something you have to work on. It's okay. Like anything else, like a muscle. You've got to work on the flexibility every day. If you don't continue with that stretching regime as he adds mass, absolutely he would lose the flexibility. So especially as you add mass, it becomes even more important. Right. Because if that mass doesn't remain flexible, that's when it becomes prone to injury, sprain, strains.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're talking about this in a few seconds. There was not a great report coming out about the citizens of San Antonio, but nevertheless, you've been a very big advocate for yoga. You've said it all last year during Locked On Spurs when this topic came up, and now is the perfect time to bring it up again, especially with Wemby showing off that video recently. And a lot of fans were liking it, seeing that, but there were some fans saying that, well, how can I do that? Why is it important for yoga to be part of a Spurs fans' daily routine? What are the benefits? I know you talked about one about prone to injury, that lessens it, but just why is it so valuable to incorporate into physical activity?
I mean, yoga is an ancient practice, and it encompasses a whole lot of different types of yoga. It can help not only with your flexibility, but also with strength. It's a lot of body weight based movements, but it really can make you strong. You can add a lot of muscle mass and strength just by using your body weight through certain types of yoga, maintaining your flexibility, working on your breathing. It also is a lot more exertional than I think your average person is aware of. Your heart rate gets up, you get good cardiovascular training with it. So you'll get break a sweat, heart rate, flexibility, and strength all in one workout, along with the mental and stress relieving kind of benefits of yoga as well. It's one of the best things you can do for your overall health.
It looks intimidating when people see videos or photographs of yoga practitioners doing poses. I'm assuming there's all types of starting points for those that are just looking to get into it. Let's just say for myself, if I wanted to dive in, in the next hour, I'm assuming there's different levels of classes people can join, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's like watching Jordan leaving from the free throw line and being like,
Okay.
well, I can't do that, so I can't play basketball.
Yeah.
Like, no, everybody starts somewhere. And that's the good part about yoga is it's a very inclusive practice. And it's about starting where you are. It's about understanding where your body is on that day. Because, from day to day, you'll feel different. So especially as you start out, there's all kinds of levels where you can start very, in a very light practice and work your way up. You shouldn't be intimidated trying out at all. When you go to practice yoga, almost anywhere you go, you're going to find people who are accepting, inclusive, and will meet you where you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming Wemby's at like PhD level at this point. I mean, he was just, bending every which way. He looked like, I'm gonna nerd out everybody. Have you ever seen the anime One Piece? There's a character that just stretches out like a piece of gum, and that's what it looked like. He was just looking like that anime character named Luffy from One Piece, just being all flexible and everything. I also say he also looked like Dalsim from Street Fighter. I mean, just that stretching thing that he did. All in all, look, I'm assuming. Well, I know Spurs fans were loving the video. As kind of weird as it looked like, just to know that he's physically ready for his NBA journey, that he's, has that yoga incorporated into him, thanks to you bringing it up, saying that it's going to lessen injuries as his career gets going. Wouldn't be surprised too. And I think we've talked about it last year too, Doctor. The Spurs were starting to incorporate that more. I believe a couple of players were getting into the yoga scene.
Absolutely. It's been the NBA has really seen a big rise. Like you said, Kareem and Robert Parrish from the Celtics were kind of the two who started the movement, but they saw such benefits and had such long careers that I'd say the majority of NBA teams now incorporate yoga into their regime for practice. Even for me, I had low back problems really badly from playing. And when I started doing yoga regularly, I saw a lot less low back pain from being more flexible in my hamstrings, my quads, and in the low back, and strengthening your core.
Hey, Doctor, there was a recent article kind of listing out the fattest cities in the U.S., and the city of San Antonio got the dubious honor of being number one. Being number one. And I sent that article to you, and I bring it up to you because, you hear the jokes from Charles Barkley saying, oh, Wemby, he'll definitely add on some size in San Antonio, his jokes about the females in San Antonio. But your first reaction when I sent you the article was like, oh, it's a bad gauge, the whole BMI thing. You saw the article. I think it's coming out now that San Antonio is the fattest, city as of now. Your thoughts on that? How can Spurs fans help get out of that number one spot? Because I'm pretty sure San Antonio doesn't want to be that known for that as well.
So scientifically, we're saying that BMI is not necessarily the best measure of obesity because it also doesn't incorporate things like your muscle mass. If you are a muscular person, your BMI will be higher. Body mass index, it's kind of the ratio of your weight to your size, but it can be thrown off by different factors. That is not to say that we don't have a problem with obesity throughout Texas and in San Antonio. You'll find Dallas, Fort Worth, El Paso, San Antonio, Houston are always
Brownsville. I think like Brownsville got up there too. Yeah.
They're always on those lists, always in the top 10. So it's a problem throughout the state. We do have problems in San Antonio that it's not an extremely walkable city. We're doing, better with things like the Pearl District and the Riverwalk for places to walk around, but that's a lot of times more tourists. We pretty much drive everywhere we go. We, have great food, but when you are more sedentary, eat out more, have, richer, more calorie dense foods, and don't tend to walk places the way they do, like in New York City or, places like that, then you see obesity become more of a problem. So we have urban sprawl, we don't walk places, and we eat a lot of calorie dense food. Obesity is something we battled for a long time, and this year we're just back at the top of that list.
And credit the Spurs, because they are helping the community in that department. And what I mean by that is recently the Spurs, I don't think they made any official announcement, but I did write an article about it, and they are helping create a dog park in San Antonio. And I think a dog park, how does that relate to just people losing weight? Well, it's not just for dogs, the owners and just people can go. So they set up these long trails out there, winding roads, winding trails to get out and walk. Also, too, look at Manu Ginobili. He's constantly showing off that he's biking. He's part of I'm pretty sure you heard about this, that big project. They're going to try the longest hiking trail that connects San Antonio and Austin. Yeah. And he's part of that too. Maybe unintentionally, but like Tim Duncan, post-retirement, you would think that he's going to be sitting down and getting fat. He's not. Quite the opposite. He actually looks better now than he did in his playing days. So, you look at the Spurs, and they put on youth clinics during the off season for kids to get out and play basketball with some Spurs players. So those are efforts, but ultimately, Doctor, it comes down to the individual to take that first step and get it done.
That's right. You named a lot of different great options for people to get out and be active. Even Michelle Obama has her, get out 60 minutes and break a sweat every day. That's with the NFL. The NBA has been very active with it. Playing basketball can be something good because it's something you can do indoors. We have a problem here in Central Texas of almost like how you have all the snow in the Northeast here for when it's 107 degrees for 40, 50 straight days. People don't get outside. They stay indoors. So we got to find ways for people to be active indoors. But, then they have to get to the gym and do something or get outside with their dog. Those are all great ways to stay active and fight obesity.
Yep. From yoga to Wembanyama looking like Gumby to the Spurs doing their part to get the people of San Antonio out and active in the community to now sneakers. When we get back, we're going to talk to Dr. Ryan about Wemby's latest sneaks. Does he like them? Do they get the Dr. Ryan MCCorkle stamp of approval? We'll find out. If not, I'm pretty sure he's going to let that dinosaur behind him know that, hey, destroy those sneakers because they suck. I don't know. We'll find out what his opinion is when we get back right here on Locked On Spurs. But before we wrap up our chat with Dr. Ryan MCCorkle, I want to talk to you about Mudslinger's drive-thru coffee. You got to go to Mudslinger's right now, located at 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the Stone Oak area, 211604. Open every single day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You're going to love their menu. Dairy alternatives. They have their signature coffee called the Mudslinger. They have specialty drinks like the Alien in honor of Victor Wembanyama, green apple, Red Bull, full can of Red Bull, and kiwi all mixed together. Tastes really good. They got the Sub-Zero drink. That's in honor of UTSA's Frank Harris. They got so many other drinks, including the OGOJ, a drink that will pluck those nostalgia vibes. If you remember the Orange Julius from back in the day, well, they recreated it only at Mudslinger's drive-thru coffee. Over 500, no, probably more now, but over 300 five-star reviews cannot be wrong. They got a friendly staff. They got everything you want. The Red Bull infused Lightning Bolt series, if you want to get your day going or keep it going, get one of those and it will work. Trust me, they got so many variety of coffee, so many alternative drinks, something to take it easy. They have an expanding menu every single day. I heard from a little birdie that a new one might be showing up. And it's going to be hilarious once it drops. Trust me, you're going to be making fun of somebody that you might be looking at right now when you reveal what it is and who it's named after. Look forward to that and more. Look, you can find them everywhere. You can find them on Threads, X, or Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, at Mudslinger SATX. Again, over 300 five-star reviews cannot be wrong. You got to go to Mudslinger's right now. Once again, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's, again, in the 281-1604 area. Go there right now. Once again, open every day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Life is too short for bland coffee. All right, let's go ahead and bring him back. There is Dr. Ryan MCCorkle. He is joining us in this offseason episode of Locked On Spurs. soon to be the regular season in just a few short weeks. And I'm pretty sure you'll see Dr. Ryan come back and do his regular stops as the season begins. But it's going to wrap it up. You can tell he's at work, so we got to be mindful of that. Doctor, quickly, you saw Wemby's new Nikes. What did you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I really like the Fiesta colorway. Their GT Hustles, which is it's a Nike sub brand. GT stands for greater than. So the Jokic wears the GT Jumps, and then Wemby is going to have the GT Hustles. Okay. And the GT Hustle 2 is the one that he's wearing. It's got a black and white colorway for Spurs colors, and then there's also that gray pink Fiesta colorway. And I really like that Fiesta colorway a lot. I would consider those. I wear the GT Jumps, the Jokic ones, to actually play basketball in, and they're very comfortable. So I'll give those Wemby's a shot.
Yeah, Wemby wore those when he threw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium on draft lottery weekend. So he inadvertently may have leaked it, but that's what they were, and that's what the drop is. Doctor, I got to be honest with you, my first thought was, okay, they're all right. I wasn't really thrilled about it. And the reason why I thought it'd look a little bit more electrifying, the whole alien thing, the whole, I'm from out of this world kind of player. I thought the shoe would reflect that. When I first looked at the shoe, I was expecting something a little bit more on the technology-based end, like they're going to introduce something new with that. But all in all, it looked okay. Maybe I got to see him in person. But for me, I was not a thumbs up. I wasn't a thumbs down. I was a thumbs in the middle, kind of like, all right, let me just see how they look in person. Who knows? Maybe they might bowl me over when I see them. Again, Doctor, I was expecting a little bit more spacey, something in that realm.
I think you're going to see that when he gets his signature shoe. So these aren't a Wemby signature shoe. Okay. This is just where he's starting out. Same with Jokic. Jokic still doesn't have a signature shoe, which is kind of strange for a two-time MVP. Right. He's still wearing the GT Jumps. So it's just a Nike shoe that they are wearing as what they wear. It's not their signature shoe yet. So like Ja Morant has a signature shoe. It's the Ja 1. Yeah. But Wemby doesn't have his signature. So when his signature shoe comes out, I'm sure it will incorporate the alien logo, and you'll probably see more technology like Luka. Luka's on his second. He's had Luka 1, now he's at the Luka 2. But before that, they're just wearing a different colorway of a different Nike shoe. So this is not a Wemby shoe. It's just the one that Wemby's going to be wearing this season.
So I'm assuming thumbs up on your end, right? You like it.
I think what you said is right. I like that colorway. Yeah. It's an okay shoe. It's not a signature shoe by any means, so it's not like he had anything to do with the design or any input on it. So I like that colorway. I don't know if I'll buy them for myself. I'd probably wait for the first Wemby signature shoe, but they're probably going to wait at least a season, maybe two, before he gets his signature shoe.
Yeah, I'll send you my address. You can send me a pair because I know you'll probably get them ahead of everybody because you have all those connections. Doctor tells me how many pairs of sneakers he has because he just knows people because of the concierge medicine practice that he has. Yes, he is part of that. It's a company that he owns that helps out as far as being the emergency medical contact at events in Austin. He's also a doctor at the St. David's Medical Center out in Austin, Texas. Tell us about that, doctor. What's going on?
We've at the Moody Center. We've had a ton of acts lately, doing backstage medical there, and that's the only way that I really get shoes very often. Is a lot of those acts will have shoe deals, so they get them, for free. And they'll see my shoes and be like, "Oh, you're into shoes." We'll have the conversation. They'll be like, "You know what? They sent it to me for free, so here's a pair for you that I would never be able to get on my own."
I'll have the conversation. We're like, "May I please have those sneakers?"
Since you get them. Exactly.
Yeah. Like in lieu of, you're like this. I know you have a staff there, but you'd be like, in lieu of my fee, though, how about those sneakers you have over there? That'll be good. He is Dr. Ryan MCCorkle. Follow him on Twitter, X at AustinER and on Instagram at AustinEM. That's the difference there. Go check it out. Again, that's where he posts a lot of his sneaker collection. It is vast. It is pretty interesting and it's really, really cool. Go check it out. Doctor, thank you for hopping on Locked On Spurs. There you are. What you got on today? What are those?
These are the Ama Manieri 4s. Okay. They were Jordan 4 that Amam Anieri did a particular run of. So
I'm okay with hand-me-downs, Doctor. Just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there.
If you wear 14s, we can hook you up.
Again, thank you, Doctor, for hopping on this episode of Locked On Spurs. And thank you for checking out this episode of Locked On as well. I'm a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. You guys are the everydayers. We're on YouTube, Ken's 5 Plus app, Spotify, Apple, iTunes. The list goes on and on. So for Dr. Ryan MCCorkle, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.